Alright guys, welcome back to part 3 of the Fantasy Ground Streaming for Dummies video series here. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to separate all your little bars and your background and everything so that you can use them with OBS. Now, this is a Photoshop specific thing, but there has to be something similar in method with using GIMP. And if not, then you're just going to have to individually save your images as PNG files. And the reason why you want it as a PNG file is because it doesn't pixelate as much if you resize it constantly, like a JPEG does. And just for you GIMP users, I will show you it should be similar on how to save them individually. So if I hold Control and say I want to take this lower bar, you hold Control and click on this little thing, you'll see it highlights. Alright? So we make sure that that is selected as well, otherwise it's going to copy it from a different layer. Then we do Control C, alright? And then Control N for new and just hit enter. And then Control V to paste it in. Well, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Sorry, you want Control Shift C. If you use Control C, it's just going to copy the basic layer without any of the filters on there, or the effects. If you use Control Shift C, it's going to copy basically everything within this little box. Now you're going to do Control N and Control V. Now you see it has a little texture. And then this, you can get rid of this again. It's just a Photoshop default that it puts out on there. So now we're going to File and Save As. And say I already got my little folder here, and I want to save it as a PNG file. Okay, and we can name this horizontal bar test. Since we're not going to use this one, I'm just using this for test purposes. Hit this, and then you should be able to just save. And then now, if you go into your folder here, you should see you have the PNG file, and that will open up just like that. Now, for Photoshop's sake, we'll delete that, and we don't need this sample in there because that was from prior. Okay, so we don't need this, and let's go back to the beginning here. Alright, to unselect that, use Control D to deselect. Now, if you want to save everything all at once as your PNG files, you're going to go up to File and to Scripts, and then Export Layers to Files. So this will bring up this little window here. You're going to make sure you set what folder it all goes into, and then your overlay or your file name prefix. So every one of them is going to have, like, for example, overlay 1, overlay 2. And then you want to make sure it's a PNG 24, because if you use PNG 8, it's going to reduce the colors that are in there. So make sure you do PNG 24. Then make sure you have transparency checked, because if you have any little spots in there that have gaps and you don't want them filled in, you want them actually see-through, make sure that's checked. Don't check interlace, and trim layers, leave that checked. Then you're just going to hit run, and it's going to kind of do its weird little thing as it exports each individual layer, and you see it's kind of like freaking out and doing its weird things here. And you just let it do its thing until it's complete, and it'll tell you when it finishes. Now, the more layers you have, the longer this process will take. It can take half an hour to an hour if you have a ton of layers. And then you see this one's taking a little while. There we go, and it is finished. And that one was taking a while because it's a bigger file that it's going to export. So now it says export layers to files was successful. Now if we go into our little folder here, we see we now have each individual one. We can open it up, and there it is. And each one is in here, and you can see it has the textures already applied. They've been kind of cut away from each other. And that's really all you got to do. It makes it really simple instead of saving each individual file. Now, how do we put these on our, how do we build our overlay once we've made all the graphics? Well, what you want to do is you want to go to obsproject.com. This is where you're going to download OBS, or Open Broadcaster software. Now they make a couple different versions of this software. This one, the Windows only one, was created a little bit ago, a little bit before the multi-platform, and it's good, but I don't recommend using it, and here's why. The multi-platform obviously is multi-platform. If you have Mac, Linux, or Windows, you can use it and it all works the same. Also, this is sort of in a beta kind of stage, so there's going to be a few little quirks and bugs and things that they're still working on working out. So, you know, make sure it's always up to date. But I recommend using this one because it's the one I use, and if you're using the other version, it kind of works a little bit different and you might get lost. So once you download that, then you are going to open up OBS over here. And it'll look like this. Now you won't have the scenes already here. This is kind of from my stream that I use, and you can set up different scenes. Now different scenes, and I'll kind of show you an example. Now I have my my setting up screen. This is what I show when the game hasn't quite started, but we're online and kind of getting everything ready, and we're just about to start streaming. But I can put this up online, so that way if people are following me, it'll notify them, hey, this user, which is my name on Twitch, is behind the DM screen. So it'll say behind the DM screen is online. So they can kind of start getting ready. It's kind of like the previews to a movie, you know? You kind of get ready, you get settled in, you get your sandwich or whatever, and you get ready to watch. And I've made other scenes like my be right back screen. So like if we take a break or something, this can pop up. So if you just click on the plus down here under scenes, and you can create your own. So for this one, we'll call it tutorial, and then just hit OK. But I've already created down here, so I'm just gonna hit cancel. Now you're gonna have just a blank screen, and this is pretty much your stream. What you see on this screen is going to be what your viewers see. So if you change any little thing while you're streaming, they're gonna see it. Now, you want to make sure that this is set to the right size. So if you go to settings, and then you go to, I believe it is video, you want to make sure that your base resolution, remember I was telling you, you want 1080 and not 720. Okay, and if it doesn't show up for whatever reason, like mine doesn't show up in the drop down, that's because my computer thinks I have one monitor that's 5760 by 1080 because I have 3 monitors synced as one giant one. But that's beside the point. Just type in 1920 by 1080, and everything else you don't really have to worry about at this point. Alright, so now let's start building our scene. So obviously you want your background first because that's what everything is going to sit on. So you're going to click add, image, and don't worry about these because they show up as you add more in there. So here we're going to call this tut BG for tutorial background. You can name it whatever you want. BG is usually what I use, and just hit OK. Now you want to browse to this file here, and let me pull this off camera real quick so I can get into my folders. Alright, so you want to browse to your background picture, which is this overlay5.png, and just hit open and OK. So there you go. You've just added your first thing to your scene. Now if you click on the object that you want to edit, you'll notice this red border with these little handles on it. These handles will allow you to kind of move things around and to scale everything. So what's nice is everything snaps, so you get it right to that corner, boom. Click off to the side to deselect everything. I usually just click in this little gray area and it goes away. Okay, so now we want to start adding our bars. So we're going to add image, tut, let's do horizontal bar 1, or we'll call it bottom. You can name it whatever you want. It's just so you know what everything is, because you'll see you'll start getting a big list of things here in the sources. Then hit OK, and you can do the same thing. So we want the horizontal bar bottom, which was this one. So this is why naming them comes in handy, because it's going to transfer that name into your folder. So you're going to open your horizontal bar and click OK. Now if you just click and drag, you can move it, but make sure that you have the right object selected, because it's a real pain in the butt if you have everything pixel perfect and you accidentally move something and you got to try to get it just right and put it back. So make sure you see here I have the background selected. You want this bar selected, and then you're going to drag it down. Now remember I was saying it doesn't matter exactly where or how high you decide to put it, because at this point you decide where you want it. So say I want my webcams about right there. And you can also resize this. So when you're streaming, if it's in the way, you can kind of push it up and out of the way. Or if you're editing stuff, you can make it big so you can really see everything. So, okay, now we have that. Now we want to add the top bar. So we'll do image, tut, h bar top. Okay, browse to our horizontal bar top. Okay, that already starts right up at the top. Now let's add our vertical bars. So add image, and we'll call it tut v bar left. Okay, now you're going to browse to your left bar, which was this one. Okay, now you can see how this one is a you might want it longer. So all you got to do is drag this down. But if you drag it down, you see it gets skinnier and fatter. If you want to keep it from doing that, hold down Shift and then drag one of the little handles, and you see it doesn't change the other axis basically. It just changes the Y and not the X. So you drag it down to wherever you want, and then just click off to the side. Now say that little piece that's kind of hanging over, we want that behind this bottom bar. You click on this little layer right here. This is your left bar, and you want to move it down behind this bottom bar. So you're just going to hit the down arrow until it's underneath that. Now it's hidden. So now we got to add our right bar. Add image, tut v bar right, and then you're going to pick our right bar, which was right here. All right. Then move that over here. All right, and same thing how you might want it behind that horizontal bar. So just click on that. And if you have this picked and then you click on something else, it'll select what you want as well. It moves the little red bars. So we want to move this right one right here. So I want to move it down behind the bottom one. Boom. Sounds good. All right, and finally we need the small bar that we made for the little chat separator here. So we will add image tut chat bar. Sure. Boom. And then we have our little chat bar. And just move it wherever you feel froggy. So we'll say about, yeah, right there. And then again, might want to put it under the other bars so it just looks nice and hidden. And that's pretty much how you add your images to your stream, to your overlay. And then what's nice about it, how it's set up now, is everything is a layer. So once you have your your game area, it will go under these bars but on top of the background. And then it allows you to adjust the layers and what moves in which way. And you don't need to save. There's no file and save. Basically, as soon as you put it in there, it saves. The old version of OBS, you have to save it. It doesn't always save if you just close the program. So you could spend a couple hours building the most amazing overlay and it's all gone. You have to re-add it all back on there. So I believe this is it for this video, and we will move on to the next part, which will be how to add your webcams to your stream. And so thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you guys shortly.